But first, we're going to ask John Dankliffs with Marcus and Millichap to give us an update of what's happening in the Austin market.
Right, let me share my screen here, and hopefully everybody can see that. I want to thank TSSA and Jenny for the opportunity to be with you guys today. Want to basically, we're going to do a brief Austin economic recap, go over some rental rate and occupancy trends, also take a look at what the REITs reported for Q2 results for the Austin Metro, then take a brief look at the development pipeline, as well as some of the 2020 sales activity for the Austin Metro. So first graph that we have here is the unemployment graph. Back in April, unemployment peaked at 12.2%. Fortunately, it has traced back down to 7.5% in June, but is still substantially higher than where it was pre-pandemic. As far as employed persons in the Austin Round Rock MSA, dipped below 1 million in April. However, again, in the following 60 days, the Austin Metro was able to add over 125,000 jobs. One of the interesting metrics that I looked at was what was reported as far as average weekly earnings. And as you can tell, over the last 5 years, they've been trending upwards in the Austin Metro. And since the onset of the pandemic, they've remained relatively constant, but they are slightly below their 2019 peaks. Next thing we'll look at are some rental rate trends. Non-climate 10 by 10 rates as reported by Yardi for the Austin Metro are down 3% during the trailing 12 months, but non-climate rents are almost back to their pre-pandemic levels. Unfortunately, that's not the same story for average 10 by 10 climate rental rates. Trailing 12 months show that they're down over 7% compared to 2019, and they are still below pre-pandemic levels at about $113 average rate for 10 by 10 climate. Earlier this week, we did a survey of independent operators in the Austin MSA. About 35 facilities participated. These were predominantly Class B and Class C facilities with an average size of about 31,000 square feet. On average, they reported August occupancy sitting at about 88.2%. Next up is we took a look at what the REITs reported for their Q2 financial results, and all the REITs compared to 2019 showed a slight downturn in average occupancy as well as average revenue. However, on the bright side for the Austin Metro, the average revenue decreases were less severe than what those REITs reported in their respective national averages. All three that we obtained information from saw slight increases in their expenses, but again, those were either in line or better than the national averages. All three experienced year-over-year decreases in NOI, and only CubeSmart's decline in NOI was actually better than their respective national average. I think it's always good to see what the relative performance is compared to the other markets that are reported. And CubeSmart, their Austin portfolio ranked 10th out of relative NOI performance out of 34 markets reported. The Extra Space properties in Austin tied for 11th out of 23 markets reported. And then Life Storage came in at 17th out of 31 markets that they reported. This information is provided by Yardi. This shows the current development pipeline in the Austin Metro. Right now, there's a total of approximately 21 properties that are either in the planned, prospective, or under construction stage in the Austin Metro. I think what's interesting of note is that almost a third of those properties are in the Austin core, if you will. And the total estimated net rentable square footage right now in the pipeline is just shy of 1.5 million. And then finally, talk about sales activity. Nationally, sales volume is relatively flat, but in the Austin Metro, there have been a total of 8 transactions thus far this year, accounting for almost 400,000 square feet. Mostly are suburban locations, and again, most of these properties were stabilized Class B or Class C facilities. And the pricing was relatively all over the map, anywhere from $52 to almost $110 a square foot. And this information was obtained from Marcus & Millichap, Yardi, as well as CoStar Group. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jenny and Teresa.
All right. I know I'm unmuted, but not back on. Here I preach about people being on camera. There we go. Now I'm back. Turned it off just for a second. That was great information. Not the best news information, obviously, but good information, good intel, John. So what I took from that is mostly bad news. The good news is that by comparison to a lot of the other parts of the country, we're doing pretty well. And I guess that's something, you know, especially during this time.
So who we are is basically we help building owners restore their roofs. So everybody's got one, and we turn things that are kind of having problems or older and make them look new again by using coatings and sealants. How we do that is I come out and I help you find the problems, understand what your options are, and then from there I make it easy on you. I can give you people, other mini storage owners that I've worked with in the past, that I just make it super easy. I don't want you to have to worry about it. I want you to know it's somebody that understands that, as well as you can get a warranty that's backed in the end with something that you can count on. When I make it easy, the reason is because I work with contractors all over Texas. So you may have facilities here in Austin, you may have facilities in other places, and I partner with those people, and I can bring you multiple bids for multiple people that are all contracted with us to be approved, to have insurance, and to also have good references. In the end, you get a beautiful new opportunity to have a warranty put on that for 10, 20, 15 years, whatever works for you. We can also spot work and do little things and little maintenance. And that kind of brings another really important point, which is what makes us so unique is that I can come out and work with your maintenance people, maybe a property manager that you have, and teach them how to use just some repair stuff. So they can use something themselves to kind of help you cut the cost of having to call somebody out there by kind of explaining when and where they can put it. So a lot of our stuff is UV stable, so you don't have to recover it with something, and you're not creating a mess that someone else has to fix, or you end up having a bigger problem than you started with in the beginning. It's kind of another example of a little repair that's been done, very easy to do. So basically that's it. Quick, keep it simple. If you guys have any questions, I can give you my number again, but hopefully if you need anything, let me know.